Hi, welcome to In the Arena. I'm your host, Mindy McAlindon. Today's guest is JD McGehee. He's a dynamic leader with Americans for Prosperity in Arkansas, and he's a key voice for the African American Coalition of Arkansas. He is passionate about grassroots change, economic freedom, and empowering communities across the state. So, JD, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Representative. It's so good to be on this show. I've been watching the episodes and been getting excited about being on this show and hearing the perspectives and talking about the issues that are really important to the communities that I live in the state of Arkansas. So really excited to be here with you.
Well, thank you. I am excited to have you on. I think I have told you more than once that I live vicariously through you because you travel so many places. You do so many really fascinating things that I know we don't have time to get into, but follow this man on Facebook or Instagram because he leads a pretty exciting life. So anyways, let's start by just introducing you to our audience. Tell me a little bit about your background and what kind of got you into public service and public policy.
So yes, I'm JD McGehee. I'm from McGehee, Arkansas, and I'm from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And I spent a little time in Detroit, Michigan. And then we came back to Pine Bluff. What has been just really clear to me, coming from the Delta region of our state, is that our state is really rich in the resources and the people that we have. And I think what has been my story, kind of the JD story, is that people invested in me. And so when I became of age and when I became in the age of thinking about what I wanted to do, public service was at the forefront. Public advocacy was at the forefront. Coming from small towns, places that have lost significant populations, but that are continuing to thrive and grow and make the type of decisions that are needed to be a force to be reckoned with in this state. Really with the opportunities for folks that want to have their part of the American dream. And I think it's important for me that my part of the American dream is really focused on servant leadership, and it's about empowering people. And so having all those different dynamics of growing up in a town of McGehee, 5,000 people, Pine Bluff, which is now about 40,000 people in Detroit. And then coming back to Arkansas, all of those experiences pretty much have led to the culmination of who I am today.
That is fantastic. And I will say you do lead with servant leadership. I have seen that in you. I've known you for maybe 8 years now, something like that. And it is very evident that that is how you serve and how you lead. So let's talk about some of the areas where you work. So let's first jump into the African American Coalition.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what the mission is of this organization and what you think it brings to Arkansas.
So the African American Coalition of Arkansas, which we refer to as the AACA, is an organization that is an affiliate group of the Republican Party of Arkansas. And within that affiliate group, the AACA is able to harness the power of diverse communities, folks who want to learn more about the conservative movement, who want to know more about the platform of our party, who want to advance their families and their lives in that same spirit. And so what we've been able to do is really empower more than 100 folks, and not just Black folks, but folks from all different diverse populations to come in, to have conversations about how we grow our party, how we grow our movement, and really structure the best types of events and engagements that will lead to meaningful the delivery of what people really want to, and it's kind of cliche, want to see our state advance to, and want to have the power of their own American dream, their own, how they want to advance their families. So it's really a coalescing, really, of diverse groups of people sharing the vision, and we get into teaching the fundamentals of the party, the fundamentals of leadership, And I've been honored to be a part of this organization, where we've gone all over the state to really be a force multiplier, really.
Well, talk about some of the things that the AACA does. And I think one of the biggest things, the biggest fundraiser, it also brings the biggest awareness to AACA, is the Douglas Lincoln Day dinners. So let's talk about those.
So several years ago, I had a idea that if we could get the governor's mansion, if we could rent the governor's mansion, and if we could get a high quality speaker into the state of Arkansas, that we would, fill the 220 spots, the seats, at that dinner, that we could really create something special in Arkansas. And with the connectivity that we have as a state, with the great governor that we have, with the great legislators who go out and represent our state, we have become a force that people really want to come to this dinner. So the dinner, we invite a speaker. We started with Senator Tim Scott, who came in and gave us an amazing speech about his family, his life, about overcoming obstacles, overcoming barriers.
It's an amazing story, his life. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That was the foundation. And that dinner sparked, it really sparked that focus in the Douglas Lincoln in the Douglas Lincoln initiative. And Senator Tim Scott came down and he just laid it out. And we were so blessed to get him down for that. But what the dinner does, let me talk about that piece.
Yeah.
The dinner brings together all types of folks at all types of tables from diverse backgrounds and perspectives. But we're all a part of the same movement. And what you find is, and when I'm looking out into the dinner, I'm finding people having conversations, having dialogues. And I'm seeing people in the trueness of faith and family and freedom, having that dialogue, that rich dialogue about how we move our state and nation forward. And folks are actually going around socializing, and they're realizing how they can work together on things. And so you see all these spurs of activity that are going on. And then we get that great message. So we've heard from Senator Tim Scott. We've heard from Congressman Byron Donalds, who came to us as a newly elected congressman and then became a national force around the country. And, he's now running for governor of Florida.
Yeah.
We heard from Burgess Owens, Congressman Burgess Owens of Utah, who came in and he brought his Super Bowl ring with him. And I think everyone tried that Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's true. And it's huge. It's huge. Yeah.
It's huge. And so, and then I was thinking, Representative McAlindon, that we had to make a shift. We had to make a shift towards a policy conversation. And so Dr. Larry Arnn, who is a native of Arkansas and the president of Hillsdale College, I became a Hillsdale College of Frederick Douglass ambassador for them maybe about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Had the opportunity to come to campus, learn about why Hillsdale is a special place. Well, in that conversation, in that invite, I'm always asking folks for phone numbers and emails. And I'm like, I'm going to reach out to you one day. And I was like, we need Dr. Arnn to come down to his home state and be the speaker at the Douglas Lincoln dinner. And he accepted and gave us an amazing speech about the history of this nation. It was amazing.
It is great. And you have, with this dinner, we've had some just phenomenal speakers, as you've mentioned. And you're right. These dinners, I mean, I had the privilege of being MC for one of these dinners, which with Congressman Donalds, which was amazing just to be a part of what was going on. But the excitement and the energy, and it's elegant. We are in the governor's mansion. I mean, such a treat and such an honor. which I think speaks to the commitment that our state has for making sure that we are getting all voices heard and that we are not leaving one out. So I think that's wonderful. I want to talk a little bit more about this, and then I want to move on because we've got some great policy stuff to talk about. But tell me about the scholarships. So you raise money and you provide scholarships, and we've seen some really successful kids come out of these schools. So tell me real quick about that.
Yeah. So as a part of the Douglas Lincoln Dinner Series, we have expanded the Douglas Lincoln Historically Black Colleges and Universities Scholarship Program. So Arkansas has 4 historically Black colleges, and what we've been able to do is to partner with those colleges to send out the applications, which has a rich essay component that the student has to satisfy in order to receive those scholarships from our selection committee. And what we're doing with those scholarships is we're asking those students to think about the principles of freedom, think about the principles of liberty, think about the principles of education, and how we advance the mission of creating energetic folks in diverse communities who are aware of the conservative movement, the founding principles, the evolving principles of the party, and really having that rich dialogue with those kids. And so as a part of that, we host a luncheon to really announce those winners and celebrate them. And we've invited the college presidents from those colleges to be a part, and community leaders. And so what it's turned out to be, we've given out more than 12 scholarships since the inception of that new initiative of the Douglas Lincoln series. And a student like Caleb Williams, who was an intern of ours, who is a recent graduate of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, a historically Black college, who was just commissioned last month as a second lieutenant in the Arkansas National Guard as an infantryman. Talk about service to the nation when a 23-year-old kid finishes that 4-year degree, graduates. I went to the graduation ceremony, graduates with a 3.4 GPA, is commissioned the same day, and receives the Chancellor's Medallion of Service at the same event, where he then gives the student reflection to the commencement speech.
Yeah.
You know, it's powerful. This stuff is powerful. When we invest in people, we are investing in the very fabric of our nation.
Yeah, and you're right. Caleb Williams is an amazing young man. I think we're only seeing a glimpse of what is to come from him, because he is just, I mean, it's amazing. I remember him being very young and starting to get involved. And I remember when he went to college, and to see where he is 4 years later is absolutely stunning. And I think it's a testament to some of the great work that AACA has done to come alongside him and help him and lift him. And he's going to do some amazing things. So thank you for all you've done. And you're currently the vice chair. Is that correct, of AACA? Yes.
Currently the vice chair, and loving the work that we do, and wanting to expand that work as we continue to be strategic with the organization.
Yeah, and I think it will continue to grow. So real quick, I just want to touch base. We're appointed by the governor, if I'm not mistaken, to the Minority Health Commission. So you're a commissioner there. Just briefly, tell me what that commission does.
So yes, I was appointed by the Senate.
Oh, excuse me, by the Senate.
To the Arkansas Minority Health Commission. Okay. And I tell you what, this commission was brought together in our state to look at health disparities, to look at the issues that impact communities, diverse communities. And I have been really proud of the work that the commission is doing. One of the issue areas that is big for me is historically Black colleges in the state. And so I've asked the commission to do more work related to men's health, but also do more work related to getting health information out to those historically Black colleges and the community, the greater communities that they sit in. Now, the Minority Health Commission will serve anyone who comes to our events and provide those rich health resources. But I think for me as a commissioner, it is an honor, I think, to receive the call, to receive the notification that you've been asked to serve your state. And I take that it's very important to me. And the work that we do is we're looking at health disparities across. But I tell you what, it also caused me to look at my own life and say, hey, what are some things that I can do better? You know, what can I do more walking? Can I do more health checkups? So really being on the commission has my family and friends will probably tell me, JD, quit talking about the health commission and quit talking about the work. But there are some very important things that we need to be that our state and communities need to be aware of related to that work. So honored to serve there.
Yeah, I look forward to see what comes out of that. As you and I have talked offline, we've talked about some issues within our own state, and I know the governor's addressing some of those issues. Legislature has addressed a lot of maternal health issues this session, but there's just so much more I think that we can do to make sure that our Arkansans are healthy and have access to strong health care. So I love what you're doing on that. Let me move on, if I can switch subjects with you, because I'm dying to get into a little bit of policy, because you know I'm kind of a little bit wonky that way. You are currently the Deputy State Director for Americans for Prosperity, what we call AFP.
Yes.
Right? And that is basically an organization that advances economic freedom and policy reform. So talk to me about what's happening in Arkansas with AFP, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about what's happening on the national level with AFP.
So yeah, that's a great question. I've served as Deputy State Director for Americans for Prosperity, Arkansas now for about 3.5 years. And over the course of that time, we've been empowering people to look at the issues in our state, because ultimately we believe that free people are capable of extraordinary things when they take a principled interest in the policies that remove the barriers and unlocks the potential of people. And so we believe in the potential of people to solve the issues, to advocate, whether that advocating is grassroots or whether it's making a phone call to a legislator or it's having a community event to empower and educate people. So that work is incredibly important. And I think we really focus on maybe solutions that maybe are what we call bottoms up, that they start where the people are that are closer to the issues. And we really found that people closest to the issues, and I know this may be an unpopular position, are the best people to fix those issues, to talk about those issues. If you're having issues with economic freedom, you've lived in your life, you've had those type of issues that you can talk and educate folks, educate legislators. So we really work in that spirit of empowerment, and that everyone has a contribution that can be gauged to their communities. And that work is really powerful. And we advocate, we empower the grassroots. We're growing. We're asking folks to make phone calls, to write letters, and do
on
everything.
what topics? Like, what do you, when you ask, sorry to interrupt you, when you ask people to make phone calls or to write letters, what are they writing to legislators? Are they writing to, who are they writing to, and what are they talking about?
So I think they could be writing to state legislators. They could be writing to their federal legislators on issues that are important to them. One of the big issues we're working on is the Tax Cuts and Job Act extension with the federal delegation. So that's one thing that we just last weekend we had volunteers in the office on Saturday asking them to make phone calls on behalf of their communities and reaching out to federal legislators and other states who need to know that how the Tax Cuts and Jobs Acts and the as part of the big beautiful bill is going to impact them. And so go ahead.
So tell us about, what is it about the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that you think benefits Arkansas? So give us a little background on what that is.
Okay.
I'm not sure everybody knows. I mean, we know, but we're kind of
that is a great question. So in 2017, the Trump tax cuts gave families about a $1,500 average back each year. And we know that tax cut fueled job growth. It fueled small businesses being able to thrive. But we know that at the end of this year, if that tax cut is not extended, we know that Americans all across the country are going to feel they're going to lose that $1,500. And we know that inflation is high. We know that everything costs more. Just doing what you did last year is at an increase. And for most folks, they're feeling it, and they're having to make deep dives and decisions on, do I get less groceries? Do I get, how do I do more with less? And so extending the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act will allow Americans from all around the country not to feel that $1,500 tax increase, because I don't know about you, most of us can't afford to have that tax increase, especially after the horrendous economic situations that the last administration put us in.
Absolutely. And so this is part of the big, beautiful bill to extend those tax cuts.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
Yep.
And where's the big, beautiful bill now?
So the big, beautiful bill has passed the House, is currently with the Senate, and it's in more of a legislative process of reconciliation, or really rescission, and where those finer points of the bill coming back from the House and the Senate are being worked out. And the president has said that he wants this bill back to him and done by July 4th. And so
that's next week.
Yeah. No pressure. No pressure. And so we've been supporting and educating folks. We've had 4 events across the state. And we had one in Little Rock where and this was really neat. We partnered with the local grocer, and we got about 50 bags of about $30 each per bag. It was a spaghetti meal. And we placed it out at a press release to show the impact of how the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act not being extended, how that $1,500 would affect families.
Yeah.
Then we went to Cabot. We went to Chef Candace's restaurant in Cabot, and we held a little event where 30 people showed up, and many of them small business owners and leaders in the community. And those folks talked about what the impact of that would be to them. And then we went to Conway, to a nonprofit that restores women who are coming from challenging situations. And one of the women actually said that if I had a $1,500 tax hike, it could mean my freedom as I'm working to pay off fines and fees and get my family back together and get my family back on a direction of productivity. And so we're hearing these rich stories all across the country, all across the state and country, as part of our national work at AFP. And then we went down to Hot Springs at Jose's restaurant, and we had a group of about 35 people come out. More conversations, more folks concerned about the Tax Cuts and Job Act extension as part of the one big, beautiful bill. And so these conversations, Representative McAlindon, they've been really helpful to me and to our team as we advance really the advocacy. And I want to thank you so much for this opportunity that you've given us here today to have this conversation, because many people don't know that on December 31st, 2025, as they go into the new year, without the passage of the Tax Cuts and Job Extension, they're going to wake up to a $1,500 hike. We hope that doesn't occur, and that by July 4th, as President Trump has laid out, that the one big beautiful bill, a part of that, the Tax Cuts and Job Act extension, doesn't allow for that tax hike. So very, very hopeful. Cross our fingers.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. It is really important. And I do think that was one of the greatest things that he did, was to try and give people back more of their own money. And I always try to remind people that, like, the government doesn't make money, the government takes your money, right? So a tax cut is just giving you back your own money. And I think it's important to remember that. But thank you for the work that you do. And I will say AFP, just from a legislative standpoint, has been a great resource at the Capitol as well. Just as you look at bills or analyzing bills, or even, I know I had one issue and I called Ryan, and Ryan's like, I can help fix this. I'm like, thank you. Thanks for the idea. So thank you for being such a great resource, not only to Arkansans, but also to legislators as we look at passing bills to help Arkansans. So I appreciate that.
Can I share one more
Sure, yeah.
really exciting thing that we work with?
Please do.
It was the Public School Access and Transparency Act that became law, which you were the sponsor. You were one of the sponsors of SB 572, that Public School Access and Transparency Act. Most people don't know that your work on that bill will allow more parents to know what their kids' learning materials from schools.
Yeah.
They can actually know of what's being taught in those public schools. And we think that that is a victory for parents. It's a victory for students, and it's a victory for transparency.
Yes.
And we're always advocating for that work, and public schools to provide access to those learning materials, ensuring that transparency and accountability in education is essential to all of our education efforts. And I did not want to let this opportunity go by without telling you thank you so much for partnering. I believe it was with Senator Dotson.
Senator Dotson, yes.
Yes, Senator Dotson.
Yeah.
You led it in the House, he in the Senate.
Yeah.
And we got that work passed. And I attribute that as we move from the learns and having more opportunities for parents to be involved. I view that in that same kind of lens as critically important to parents knowing what the schools are teaching their kids. So thank you for all of your hard work that you did on that effort.
Thank you. It was an honor to carry it. And I think, again, transparency, I think, is really important. So I appreciate you all bringing that to us. So let me wrap up real quick. I love, as I said, I love talking to you. Well, I could talk to you all day long. But let's figure out two things. First, real quick, kind of what do you hope, besides the Tax Cut and Jobs Act as a big, beautiful bill, besides that, what's the one thing you hope to see in the next year? You can either be,
The one thing that I hope to see in the next year is I want to see more people educated about the freedoms, about the advocacy, and how they can get involved. I think there are lots of people who are sitting on the sidelines and asking themselves, oh, I don't want to get involved, or do I want to get involved? And I always tell people, go to our website, believeInAR.com, believeInAR.com, and see how you can get involved with AFP Arkansas, because whether it's training or education or advocacy, we've got solutions and we've got pathways that folks can work with us to increase their awareness and increase their effectiveness and increase that advocacy. And so what I want to see next year is more people take that step to come off the sidelines and say, I want to know what's going on in my community. I want to know what's going on in my state. And I definitely want to know what's happening across the landscape of our country. And Americans for Prosperity Arkansas is that one-stop shop that can bring all those things together with resources and education and impact to make those things occur. And I tell people all the time, we are concerned about the economy. We are concerned about issues of healthcare and foundational education and constitutional limited government, just to name a few. So that would be my elevator pitch really quickly about the issues we work on and how people can get involved.
I think that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, last thing I always ask people, it's kind of a weird one, but 3 fun facts about you. They can be serious, they can be random, that people don't know about you. You just list them off.
So I'm reading a book right now called Power Questions. Okay. And I'm really rereading that book because it's so good. It's by Andrew Sobel and Gerald Panis. And it really it really reflects upon the essential premise of asking questions that lead to education, pondering critical issues. And part of that book that I really, really like is how Jesus used the power of questions, how historical officials, historical people have used that power of questions, how asking questions brings about transparency, how it brings about education and people to reflect, really. And sometimes you can ask a question in a way that it reveals the answer that you wanted in the first place. And so Power Questions is one of the things,
Okay.
It's one of the books that I'm reading, rereading it, that's really impactful.
All right. Any other fun facts about you want to share?
Yes. So I love traveling. I love traveling to different
countries.
know. I had a personal awakening about 2 years ago when I was in Israel for the first time, and just understanding the journey, having read the Bible and being familiar with the Bible, but going to Israel during that time period, it really opened up the Bible to me. It opened up the issue of faith to me. It really brought the whole geography of the world to me, especially when you take a 14-hour flight.
Yeah.
But it was powerful. And one quote that I love to leave people with is Frederick Douglass. And he talks about, I will work with anyone to do good and no one to do harm. I will work with anyone to do good and with no one to do harm. And so in my walk, in my life, in my career, I try to walk through that quote of Frederick Douglass, a pioneer of our country, a statesman of our country. And I think we need more statesmen to emerge in the future of this great nation, so that we can celebrate another 250 years after this 250 that's coming up.
That's right. I think that is a great place to leave it. And I do really appreciate you sharing that quote. I haven't heard that one, but I do love that. So JD, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate your time. It has just been such a joy to hear what you're doing, what you're up to. And gosh, I know you've got so much more to do. So I look forward to seeing it. Thank you so much. And y'all have a wonderful day. And don't forget to believe in Arkansas and believe in AR.org. You got it. All right. Thanks, JD. Take care. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So I hope you've enjoyed our show today with JD McGehee. He is a key leader in Arkansas. He works significantly with Americans for Prosperity as their deputy state director. He also works with the African American Coalition, and he talked a lot about building bridges, about building coalitions and empowering communities through civic engagement, as well as through policy and through education. And he really empowers what it means to be a servant leader. And I think you could hear that in his voice. You could hear that in the examples that he gave, that he has committed his life to bringing bold ideas, bringing integrity and commitment to making sure Arkansans are able to lead the best lives that they can lead. So I hope you enjoyed the show today, and I look forward to seeing you next week in the arena.